Welcome to the Maguire Iron Podcast. My name is Brian Cooper. I am the Director of Marketing at Maguire Iron and your host for this podcast. At Maguire Iron, we've been helping to store and protect quality water for over 100 years. On this episode, our guest is Pat Credeur, the Executive Director of the Louisiana Rural Water Association. We will discuss COVID-19, hurricane season, and how his team reacts and handles emergencies. Pat started with the Louisiana Rural Water Association in 1981 as an energy conservation specialist. In that position, he did leak detections, infiltration surveys, and meter testing. He was promoted to the Loan Asset Program, and then in 1996 became the Executive Director. Through hard work and public relations, the Louisiana Rural Water Association currently has over 1,000 utility and associate members. Pat also sits on the Governor's Fluoridation Advisory Board, the Governor's Groundwater Advisory Task Force, the Governor's Rural Water Infrastructure Committee, and the Governor's Rural Revitalization Committee. Pat, thank you for joining me on the Maguire Iron Podcast.
It's my pleasure. I'm really proud to be on this podcast and look forward to many more with Maguire Iron.
Give us an idea who the Louisiana Rural Water Association is, when you were founded, and what you guys are all about.
Well, back in 1977, a group of men from Louisiana got together trying to find help amongst all the utilities. And while doing that, they noticed that the National Rural Water Association had already started an association to get assistance from our congressional people in Washington, D.C. and with the United States Department of Agriculture. So LRWA was established in 1978 to assist the small water and wastewater systems through on-site training, technical assistance, and help these licensed operators with certification. We provide the on-site technical assistance and classroom training to the water and wastewater personnel across the state. Of course, in accordance with the Safe Drinking Water and the Clean Water Act, LRWA is an affiliate of the National Rural Water Association. The LRWA staff here in Louisiana, we provide over 6,000 on-site technical assistance visits and on-site training per year. In addition to that, Brian, we do the classroom training, anywhere from 8-hour one-day sessions to 32-hour courses. And we train over 5,500 water and wastewater operators and specialists a year.
Your mission talks about leadership, representation, and support services, which you touched on all of them. How have you guys stayed true to your mission during this COVID-19 pandemic that we're all dealing with?
Well, our mission is to continuously assist the smaller utilities, especially the ones that have only one or two people working with the utilities. They need somebody to support them. And with our mission to provide water and wastewater utility members with the highest quality of leadership, representation, and support services, it goes into what we do. My staff is out on the road constantly visiting these utilities, and with some type of help. There's always a problem. There's a pump problem or a treatment problem or a water leak problem. And my 18 or so field staff are constantly out there in the field. We've been doing this, Ryan, for 42 years. And we've been continuously able to assist the smaller utilities with this type of assistance. And hopefully we'll continue to do that for a long time after I'm gone.
How important is that for these smaller utilities? You know, you touched on your staff that are out there 7 days a week helping these utilities. How important is it that you provide this type of assistance to them?
When you have utilities that are having to follow state and federal regulations, especially EPA regulations, these utilities, these operators, are constantly looking for someone to um, help them out. And because of the COVID situations that we've been going through the last 8 months now, it's even been a lot harder. The challenges from COVID-19 presented to these organizations were tremendous to them. So having my staff with the expertise, with the training that we get from within the state, all my staff at one time or another has operated or managed a water or wastewater utility. With the training that we get from the National Rural Water Association through our in-service training, they take this expertise to the utilities, to the operators and the specialists, and educate them to hopefully manage and take care of their own problems eventually.
What have been some of those challenges that COVID-19 has presented to those systems and to your organization? Because it's changed the way a lot of us do business.
Well, that's has been a great problem when this first came up. Workforce, we've been fortunate in that we've had not to let anyone go with our programs that are funded from the federal side and through National Rural Water, and our state contracts that we have here with the Department of Health and Department of Environmental Quality and Governor's Office. We've been able to keep our staff out working. Financially, our state and federal grants and contracts have stayed intact, and nothing has been cut yet, and I think that will be okay. With the problems that came into effect with the utilities were when some of the operators got COVID or tested positive. They had to stay away from their utilities for a couple of weeks, which left them, especially the utilities that had only one employee, one licensed employee. So we stepped up and helped out these utilities to make sure that they made their that they were able to make safe drinking water, and we assisted them throughout several months. Thank God that not many operators were out of work because of COVID. As of now, I know of no licensed or certified operator that we worked with during this pandemic has passed on. So we continue to help them out, and they know they have our numbers. They know where we are. I probably have, but all the staff that I have out in the field, every one of them has appointments. They don't have to leave their house in the morning not knowing where they're going. They have appointments, and because we've been called daily, and that we had to cancel our conference this last year, and canceling the annual conference really hurt us. And not to mention the 1,200 or 1,400 attendees who were expecting to receive the certification hours to maintain their licenses. And of course, the monies that we make from our conference and some of the other smaller meetings that we have assist us in with training programs and other management training services as well. The training programs took a small hit, but we were able to catch up by adding an additional 10 one-day training classes to assist these operators with making sure that they were going to have all the hours they needed before the end of the year.
And I think that's one thing that's important for people listening to the podcast to understand is, you guys have certain regulations as, a state that these operators have to meet. And just because of COVID-19, that didn't change the hours that they had to get to stay certified, correct?
That's exactly right. Although the our state primacy, the Louisiana Department of Health's certification department worked with the utilities and the operators. It was up to the operators to make sure they got their training hours when they were supposed to, and all of them have at least 2 hours to maintain those to get these hours. So um, the health department went ahead and helped them out to make sure that they got them, and with us adding these extra 10 days, and we also added a mini conference in October, which brought in uh, a few hundred people. So we overcame the challenges, and at first having to take our staff off the road because of COVID, we didn't know exactly how to handle all of our members' needs by phone, but National Rural Water and USDA worked along with us and allowed us to work from our homes. And for several weeks, I had my staff calling every utility in their districts to make sure there was not a need. And we did this every day for weeks. And the utility operators were very appreciative to have our circuit riders call them to assist by phone. And it worked. You know, uh, it really didn't become a problem until some of the utilities, as I said earlier, lost a certified operator uh, to testing positive, but we took care of that as well.
You talk about challenges of COVID-19, and hurricanes are nothing new to Louisiana. You guys go through this every year, and you hope that you don't get any severe storms. But this year, I mean, you guys in the middle of COVID-19 were also dealing with a couple of significant hurricanes that really impacted services as well. So how did you overcome some of those obstacles as well?
Well, I tell you, it's yes, we deal with hurricanes almost every year. Sometimes we get 2, 3 years of rest without getting any, but this year we had six, 5 or 6 that hit the Louisiana coast, came close to it. But Hurricane Laura was the big one, and then Hurricane Delta came in um, several weeks after that. It was almost deja vu, like Katrina and Hurricane Rita back in 2005. Um, Hurricane Laura was a mess. It devastated the Gulf Coast all the way up to North Louisiana. The resilience of my staff was awesome, and after Laura came ashore at 150 mile per hour winds, it was total devastation. And but we got the help from rural water associations with personnel, generators, equipment, and they came in from Florida Rural Water, Georgia Rural Water, Alabama Rural Water, Mississippi Rural Water, and Texas Rural Water. And we had Arkansas and Oklahoma waiting to come in with equipment as well. With the extra help, which gave us a total of 35 personnel, and we had um, a couple of utilities came in from Alabama. Fort Payne was one of them, and another utility brought in personnel and equipment. So we had all this. We had all these people. We had all these generators. We had all the equipment and tools to help utilities out, not just on the Gulf Coast, but as far as Monroe, Louisiana, which is approximately 4 hours north of the Gulf Coast. So um, we had some challenges, but these guys coming in never thought about going home. Uh, we worked from daylight till dark. We had to get out some areas, especially on the Gulf Coast, before it got dark. So, putting in 10, 12, 14-hour days working with utilities that had nothing left, Brian. Homes, businesses were washed away. So, someone may ask, well, what were you doing? We're helping them out. Well, we were helping locate services, valves, meters, um, help them repair water lines, replace water pumps, motors, help flush out the water lines. Whatever it took us to do, we helped out that operator. You can't imagine having a utility that had let's say 18 or 1900 services, and you came back the next morning after the storm came through and there's nothing there. But as the old saying is, if you get water, they'll come, and that's what we did. We helped these utilities out to get water back and running, um, and some of the people are starting to move back in, and believe it or not, are even starting to rebuild. So um, it was a challenge, but we stuck. We stuck in there, and thank God for all the extra help that we had from across the Gulf Coast states.
What does that say to you about the National Rural Water Association, its state associations, and its members, that when somebody like yourself or your members need help, that you get that kind of response to your request?
Well, it means a lot to a state that's been hit not once, not twice, but several times. And although some of the hurricanes that hit us this year, we didn't have to do very much because, believe it or not, after Laura hit, even with Hurricane Delta, I think these people had gotten themselves prepared for it, and we really didn't have to do very much other than haul in generators. But when you get several states that that's got your back, when they can come in here with the equipment that we need. The state's got its own problems. The state's got 13 or 1400 water systems in this state they got to take care of. We took care of about 100 of them. But when you have people like the National Rural Water Associations and the states that I just called out that comes to your help, and they're actually there. When I drove up the next morning in wee hours in the morning after Hurricane Laura hit, and when I drove up there and I see Florida Rural Water's got two semis loaded there with generators and equipment and personnel waiting to see what I wanted them to do. It gets you and helps out a lot. We've gotten this since Katrina and Rita. We had states after Katrina and Rita come in from as far away as New York, and since then, the National Rural Water Association put together an emergency response committee, and that committee of which I've been on since 2005 or 2006. We've gotten all the state associations to have some type of emergency response, and they're all working committees. NRWA still has a working emergency response committee, and it means a lot when you have people there to help you. And I tell you, there was not one time. Every morning we had a meeting and we gave out duties. They grabbed the keys to their vehicles and they headed out and we went out. And so that means a lot to us, and I'm sure it meant a lot to the utilities that we helped out. When we were able to drive up there pulling a generator with someone that had not had water for 3-4 days, you can imagine what it would do for you if you open up your tap and you finally had water. So.
Well, and I think the thing for people to realize too is when you guys are restoring water and wastewater services in areas like this, you can't just turn on the water and use any water. It still has to meet the same standards that it would have to meet on a normal day.
Exactly, and a lot of people think, if we get some water coming through here, we can use them. But you got to remember, every time that you use that faucet, even though it's not drinkable, if you're only going to use it to wash around or flush the toilet, you got to remember that wastewater system's got to be working too, because if the wastewater system is out of power, just like the utility is, and you start flushing things, but something's going to start getting backed up. So, what comes around goes around. And so when you get one work, you got to make sure that the complete utility is working, and that's water and wastewater. Um, it means a lot to the utilities. I know it meant a lot to me. Thank God I had a small generator at my home. I stayed without water for a week. And but with that said, we were still out in the field working with utilities to make sure that the utilities customers were getting assistance. And we've gotten good accolades from the governor's office, from the governor himself, and many legislators have called me and thanked us for what we've done, and of course all the other state associations that came in.
Yeah, that's you guys are a great example of resiliency and doing what it takes to make sure that your members and the people that they serve have the basic needs that people need every day.
Well, we are, and working with the Department of Health and the Department of Environmental Quality and the governor's office, Natural Resources, and the governor's office of Homeland Security and Emergency Preparedness. A lot of them get frustrated because these utilities call us first instead of calling their parish emergency operations centers. Well, they see us on a daily basis, and when it comes to water or wastewater, they're going to call what they think are the experts, and I think we are, to find out what to do next. And of course, you can preach to them day in and day out, but when something happens, you're going to call the people that's been helping you on a daily basis with the water and wastewater systems. And of course, we get them lined up. We take the information. We tell them to call the Emergency Operations Center so it can be documented. And then we get the ball rolling along with the health department. This year, it just so happened where the storm came in, I was able to use our office in Allen Parish, which is about 50 miles, give or take, as a crow flies from the Gulf. And we were able to use our office as an emergency operations center. We had to use a generator to run our office, but we had the Department of Health there. We had EPA there. We had natural resources staff there, and we just kind of got our business taken care of from that office, from that corner of the estate. And we just spread out every morning, and we're back every night. And I have to tell you, in the evening, Brian, you have to have a little camaraderie in the evening. And when all people came back in the evenings, I always made sure that we had some type of meal cooked. And I learned this from Katrina and Rita. It helps so much when you get back in the afternoon after seeing all this devastation, and you were able to sit down in a circle and talk about what you've seen all day, who you talk to, and all these my staff from Florida, Georgia, whomever, able to get it off their chest and talk about what they did that day, how they helped so and so. Some shed tears, which is which is a good thing because of what you saw. It's a pitiful thing when you see a family standing on a piece of property where a home used to be, and you got kids standing alongside of them, and they don't have a home. So kind of chokes you up, and that's why I did what I did every day. Rusty Reeves and I, my deputy director, we made sure there was a meal cooked. We made sure we sat down and talked about what we saw, and made people feel better, and definitely made them get up early in the morning, hit the road again the next day.
My next question was going to be, what did you learn from this scenario? But I think from what you just explained there, from what you went through with Katrina and Rita, you guys have now got some really good best practices in place to to take care of people at the end of the day?
That's a good point. And taking care of people every day is what we do. But we can't forget about the people that work for us. We're human beings also. We're not supermen. We're not superwomen. We have hearts. We have families, and it takes a toll on staff. And me, when I stayed at the office all day long answering phones, calling people, we need this, we need that. And I tell you, for the first week, not having phone service, the proper phone service, it was a mess. But we got it done, and that's why you can help out your neighbors all you want. You can help out the neighbors, but it gets to the point where you got to look at yourself and look at your staff, and you got to help out yourselves as well. So, and we've done that. National Rural Water's got a good emergency response committee. We've been able to buy us a 1-ton unit. We've got a 40-foot trailer. That's a first responder trailer, emergency response trailer that's got equipment in it. It's got beds in it that we haul from one disaster to another. And so people might see us coming across the United States one of these days, because as you know, 2020 brought fires, brought floods, brought hurricanes. Yeah, we're probably going to get snowstorms, ice storms. God knows what's going to happen before December 31st. So we're around to help. And when I say we, that's every state association and every person that works for that association, the National Rural Water staff, from the CEO on down to the last person that works for them. We're fortunate with who we are. It's the best job I've ever had in my life. When you can help out somebody and get thanked for it at the end of the day, it's a good feeling.
So now that we've talked about COVID-19, the hurricanes, all the bad stuff, what's the future look like for Louisiana Rural Water Association? What are the good things that are going on?
Well, I'm proud to say that our state and federal programs continue to get funded. NRWA had a conference call yesterday with all the executive directors, and we continue to get funded from the United States Department of Agriculture. So that's a good thing. And EPA continues to fund us on our wastewater and training programs as well. Here in the state of Louisiana, our energy conservation program is funded through a bill that's been funded for the last 30 years. But we finally got full funding. Now I don't have to beg for money anymore. That we'll continue to get funding for doing leak detection, infiltration surveys, camera work, meter testing. And we also do capacity development training and management training with contracts from our state primacy, the Department of Health. And DEQ's got us homeowners wastewater plant program that we're doing. So these programs continue to get funded, and we continue to keep our staff working. And so it's a good thing.
All right, Pat. Well, I appreciate you taking the time out of your busy schedule and sharing with us and our listeners, about the things that Louisiana Rural Water has done to help people through COVID-19, through the hurricanes, and what some of the great things you're doing to, like we talked about earlier, to just help people.
Yes, sir. That's what wakes us up every day and puts us to bed every night. And Louisiana Rural Water has been a good friend with the 1,300 plus utilities in the state, and the 6,000 or so registered operators, licensed operators in this state. We have a good rapport with our state and federal agencies. And as we say to everyone, and even in our magazine, that we provide our water and wastewater utilities members with the highest quality of leadership, representation, and support services. So we're here to help you out. And remember, if you listen to this from across the country, there's a state association in your state. So utilize them.
Remember, you can always connect with us by going to our website, maguireiron.com. You can ask questions by sending us an email at info@maguireiron.com, or you can follow or reach out to us on any of our social media platforms. We are on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and LinkedIn. Thank you for joining us on the Maguire Iron Podcast.